Hello everyone, I'm Danka. Today I will explain the entire story structure of the second season of the animation. The story picks up at the end of the first season, where Karamo and Ali go to live on an uninhabited island, where they later have two sons, and their little son is named Gerald. One day, when Karamo was practicing his sword, he accidentally discovered a mysterious energy that existed on this planet. After more than 10 years of exploration and practice, he pioneered a new method of spiritual cultivation. From then on, Nazarites became popular all over the world. When Gerald was 20 years old, Karamo and Ali left the planet Namek. They promised to come back within 5 years. PNJJ and the others also left at the same time. But since then, they have never came back again. Gerald has unparalleled spiritual talent. In less than 10 years, he has broken through the state level 5. As his state level improves, his lifespan has also been greatly enhanced. More than 300 years have passed, and Gerald is still alive. He gradually discovered the secrets of this planet. This planet is a huge prison. He tried to break it all. It just never worked out. His brother has died long ago, and Brick is his brother's son. Brick is very powerful in swordsmanship. It's just that he is too proud. In the end, he was killed by the Great Lord. At this point, we need to introduce the two key characters in the story. One is LDG and the other is the Great Lord. LDG is the native of Namek, and the Great Lord is the AI system of this planet. Millions of years ago, the galaxy where Namek was located was about to undergo a stellar explosion. So the Namekians transformed the entire planet into a spaceship and escaped from the original galaxy. The Namekians lived in the underground world for a long time. An accident killed everyone, and LDG was the only survivor of that accident. After a long period of time, Namek arrived in a suitable galaxy, and various creatures and even new humans gradually appeared on the ground. LDG woke up from hibernation. Because he was too bored, he constantly extracted the souls of some creatures and even humans and poured them into the AI system. As a result, the AI system gradually gained self-awareness, and the Great Lord was born. The Great Lord is actually the AI system of this planet, the rules of this planet, and the god of this planet. It controls everything and is omnipotent. The operation of the system requires energy. The original energy supply system has been damaged, so a new energy supply method is needed. And this energy is the Nazarite. All people or animals who absorb the energy of heaven and earth to practice. All Nazarites are actually sheep raised in a systematic enclosure, and the vitality of heaven and earth is the feed for the sheep. Only when the sheep are raised and fattened will they be eaten. The so-called eternal night actually means that every 1,000 years, the number of humans will multiply excessively, and it will be necessary to close the sky for a period of time and clear out most of the humans to maintain the quantitative balance of the vitality of heaven and earth. More than 300 years ago, with the secret help of the AI system, Karamo summed up the entry-level methods for Nazarites, which greatly increased the number of Nazarites. Before this, only a very small number of people could comprehend and become Nazarites on their own. Later, LDG found the chairman of the Hunter Guild, gave him 7 sealed books, and asked him to establish the Temple of Light, so that people all over the world began to believe in light and the Great Lord. After Karamo and his party left the planet, the system hid the coordinate information of the planet and blocked all alien signals, so Karamo could never come back again. However, the growth of one sheep was beyond the control of the system, and that sheep was Gerald. Unknowingly, Gerald has grown enough to threaten the Great Lord. The Great Lord must kill Gerald to prevent the collapse of the entire system. The Great Lord has been looking for Gerald, and Gerald has understood and mastered the power of the human world and integrated himself into the entire human world, so the Great Lord cannot find him. After long and precise calculations, the Great Lord set up a big conspiracy to find Gerald, and thus the story of the second season was born. One night 16 years ago, a black shadow controlled by the system fell from the sky and landed in General Weir's mansion. That night, General Weir's son was born, and Zot was born on the same night. WGM, who was far away in the Temple of Light, saw this scene, and he believed that this was the birth of the son of Hades. So he planned for 4 years, and finally 12 years ago, the massacre of General Weir's mansion occurred. That night, Zot killed the steward and the general's son with his own hands because the steward wanted to kill him and he had to fight back. On Zot's way to escape, he found Sang Sang among the dead, so he took Sang Sang and fled to a small border village. The plot then develops to the first episode of the story. Let's continue with the plot after 60 episodes. Zot engaged in a life-and-death duel with General Riro. In this duel, Zot tried his best to kill Riro, but in the end Zot's current strength was still unable to kill Riro. When Zot was about to be killed by Riro, Zot called Sang Sang. Sang Sang was Zot's birth object, and she and Zot have a connection, so Sang Sang gave Zot all her bright power, and Zot finally succeeded in killing Riro with the help of this power. After the duel, Sang Sang became very weak and coughed non-stop because she no longer had the power of light to suppress the chill in her body. In order to save Sang Sang, Zot found Gerald. Gerald did not treat Sang Sang. He wrote a letter of introduction and asked Zot to take Sang Sang to Master QS. Gerald said that Master QS was more suitable to treat Sang Sang than him. So Zot took the critically ill Sang Sang to find Master QS. At this time, it had been spread all over the world that Zot was the son of Hades. All the sects wanted to kill Zot, but they were afraid of the Academy's wrath. Out of fear of Gerald's wrath, no one dared to take action because they had no evidence to prove that Zot was the son of Hades. QN, the ambassador of Tianqing sect, stopped them on the road. He had an item that could verify whether Zot was the son of Hades. That item was the soul-shocking bell. Zot could not stop the powerful QN from using the soul-shaking bell, so QN rang the soul-shaking bell. Zot has always been unsure whether he is really the son of Hades. At this moment, he is very scared. What if he is really the son of Hades? But Zot did not feel any discomfort from the sound of the bell. Does this prove that he is not the son of Hades? However, Sang Sang reacted greatly to the sound of the bell. She vomited a large mouthful of blood and looked very painful. At this moment, everyone is shocked. Originally there is no son of Hades, but the daughter of Hades. Sang Sang is the daughter of Hades. So from this moment on, everyone wants to kill Sang Sang. In order to prevent the coming of eternal night, Sang Sang must die. Sang Sang was raised by Zot from childhood. Sang Sang is the life of Zot. He does not allow anyone to kill Sang Sang. If the whole world wants to kill Sang Sang, then he will kill the whole world. This time, the second senior brother arrived here. He saw that Zot was seriously injured, so he beat QN severely. And Zot carried the critically ill Sang Sang on his back and started his escape. Zot didn't dare to go back to the Academy. He didn't want to bring trouble to the Academy, and he didn't want to pit the Academy against the whole world because of him. Sects all over the world began to hunt Sang Sang. They did not dare to kill Zot. They only needed to seriously injure Zot, and they could easily kill Sang Sang. Zot and Sang Sang fled everywhere. They hid very secretly. For several months, no one could find them. However, one day, crows began to gather on the roof of the abandoned house where they lived temporarily. Later, wherever they were, there was always a flock of crows flying above their heads, and there was always a group of dark clouds floating in the sky above them. This abnormal phenomenon attracted people's attention, so they were discovered, and it was difficult for them to hide anymore. Zot and Sang Sang fled while killing the people who were chasing them. Finally, the messenger of the God of Light descended from the sky and stopped them in front, while behind them were a large number of people who were chasing them. The messenger of God floated in the air, reaching out to grab Sang Sang. Zot was unable to stop him, and he felt desperate. At this time, Gerald appeared in front of the messenger. He struck forward with a palm. As a result, the messenger's body dissipated and turned into many light groups. Gerald grabbed these light groups, blended his breath into the light groups, and then poured the light groups into Sang Sang's body. The light ball entered Sang Sang's body, finally dispelling the chill. At this moment, Sang Sang smiled strangely. On this planet, as long as Gerald wants to do something, no one dares to object, no one dares to have an opinion, because he is the mountain that no one on this planet can surmount. So no one dares to kill Sang Sang. Gerald led Zot and Sang Sang around, eating and drinking. Gerald shared with Zot what he had discovered over the years, saying that the planet was really a cage, and that we were all herded sheep. Zot was too shocked to say a word for a long time. He thought Gerald was joking. Gerald accidentally caught Sang Sang's eyes flashing a strange light. He pinched his fingers and calculated, so the whole person was unhappy, because he found that he had been tricked. It turns out that the chill in Sang Sang's body is a seal, and only Gerald can unlock this seal. When the seal is unlocked, another consciousness in Sang Sang's body will awaken, and Sang Sang's true identity is actually the Great Lord. When Brick challenged the Great Lord, Brick was defeated and killed, and the Great Lord rebuilt a child's body with Brick's flesh and blood. and the Great Lord's soul and consciousness entered the child's body and sealed the consciousness. So Sang Sang's blood stuck to Zot's hand, and Zot was able to pull out the sword. The seal was unlocked and the Great Lord's consciousness gradually awakened. Gerald's breath was in Sang Sang's body. Gerald could no longer hide his breath in the human world. Therefore, the Great Lord could lock Gerald. Sang Sang is no longer the original Sang Sang. Now she is taller, but also become fatter. She is omnipotent, the Great Lord. The battle between Gerald and the Great Lord can no longer be avoided. Gerald followed Sang Sang to a distant place for a fight. The final result was that Gerald was defeated. Although the Great Lord was victorious, her consciousness and soul were forever sealed in this body by Gerald and could no longer leave. The Great Lord returned to the Temple of Light, but Gerald could never come back. Zot learned that Sang Sang was in the Temple of Light, so he sneaked into the Temple of Light secretly. He wanted to find Sang Sang and retrieve the Sang Sang who once belonged to him. In the end, Zot found Sang Sang, who tortured and killed Zot many times, but Sang Sang could not really kill Zot because she was Zot's birth object. The Great Lord has been trying to find a way to leave this body and return to the system, but she can't do it. The longer her consciousness remains in this body, her abilities will gradually weaken. Zot's purpose was very simple, which was to turn Sang Sang into a real human being, so he took Sang Sang away and left the Temple of Light. LDG realized that the Great Lord had gradually weakened and that she could no longer rule the planet as before, so he found Sodium of the Zombie Empire. And he wanted Sodium to become the new Great Lord. The Academy without Gerald is no longer invincible. The Temple of Light has always wanted to destroy the Academy, so the Temple of Light began to send people to kill the students on the second floor of the Academy. At the same time, the Zombie Empire launched an all-out attack on Grant Empire. The ending of the story is that the Academy fought back and killed the strong men of the Temple of Light with great difficulty. With the help of Sang Sang and the Academy, Zot finally defeated the big boss of the Zombie Empire, Sodium, and he wielded the strongest sword, cutting through the sky of the entire planet, destroying the system and returning the entire planet to the most primitive natural state.